This is Train Boy number 705 and you are watching the Northwestern Special.
The steam engine for its type is the fastest land vehicle. And the steam team are the power behind freight and express services that make up the Northwestern Railway. This is the Northwestern Adventures.
The year 1952 was one of the most eventful years that ever happened as my time as controller. I had just received my number 7 engine Toby the previous year, and near the Sodor Railway I had just received 2 other engines called Sir Handel and Peter Sauer in 1952. The 1950 was probably the height of the Northwestern Railway's popularity. The island would get visitors all over from Britain just to see my engines. I got to this point where I had to get a special coach for Thomas in 1952 to take all the visitors. Because of this, Thomas was the most popular engine from the Railway series books. The first diesel engines began appearing on the British Railways in the late 1940s and early 1950s. Most of my engines were aware of diesels existing, except for notable exceptions like Thomas, Colin and Fergus.
Engines like Gordon and Henry knew about diesels as they would occasionally see one of them on the mainland.
Waiting at Aylesbury were 3 coaches, Annie, Claiborne and Emma.
What's taking so long? Edward should be here by now.
Thomas was completely aware that the mainland engines would stop due to special visitors arriving that day. Thomas and his coaches had waited and waited until they had 3 familiar whistles.
Wait a minute. Those whistles. Who could it be?
Then rushing past Thomas was Cruvin, Winston, and Rex Max. The 3 engines of the England Heritage Railway, or the EHR for short. It only had the 3 engines at this point and all of them originated from the NWR. The EHR had only been around since 1935 and is credited as the first steam preservation railway. The 3 engines arrived at Knapford and surprised Gordon, Percy, and Henry. Cruvin? Winston? Red Max? What are you guys doing here again? We're visiting Sodor with our controller. Our controller has told us nothing about why he's here. He says that this is gonna be pretty big.
Maybe he's here to buy some of us.
Don't be silly, Percy. Our controller wouldn't be that cruel. A few days later, I had a meeting with my engines at the sheds. Most were a bit concerned. Throughout the few days, a rumor was going around that I was selling all my engines. I formed this meeting to set things straight. Now I know that everyone is thinking that each and every engine to the EHR. I'm here to assure everyone that I will not be selling every engine. The Railway series has proved that the NWR will be around for a long time. But some engines here are simply too old to continue running on the railway. That's why I asked the owner of the EHR, who is a close friend of mine, to come here to see if some of you would like to live on his railway. He has seen all of you engines in action and decided which ones he is considering buying. Then I listed the engines. Neil, Glenn, Colin, Lily, Stafford, Wendell, Emily, and Edward. Then many engines' faces fell. He chose these engines as most of these engines are too old for the heavy work. You all have a day to decide if they want to stay or not. Then I left the sheds. I know I'm going. It would be nice to take passengers for the rest of my days and never have to worry about freight again. Well, I'm staying on Sodor. Those books about you guys have gathered a lot of attention. I wouldn't want to leave just as the popularity increases.
I'm going. I feel as if I take one more freight train, I'm gonna be as good as scrap.
I'm staying. It would not be right to leave Mickey to respond to every accident on the island.
While Neil, Glenn, Emily and Colin decided right away, Lily, Stafford, Wendell and Edward hadn't decided yet. The next day these 4 engines were taken off work to give them more time to decide. By the time it was noon, only 2 of these engines had decided. One of them was Stafford. "I'm going. The EHR needs more than just steam engines." The other was Lily, who was keeping her decision a secret until Percy showed up to the sheds that afternoon.
Hey Lily, made a decision yet?
Actually, Percy. I have. I'm leaving.
What?
Me, Colin, Adam and Timothy made an agreement about 50 years ago that we would always stay together. But me and Colin are the only Wellsworth and Sudbury engines left. We have to be preserved before it's too late.
I don't understand.
I learned from Fergus about diesels. They say that they will completely take over in 20 years. Steam engines' days are numbered and they want to be preserved before I'm screw out.
Percy was completely silent while Lily was giving her speech. After she was done, Percy had a blank expression on his face as he puffed away. A few minutes later I walked out of my office. "Has anyone seen Percy? He's late to take the mail." After Lily explained to me what happened between her and Percy, I had a bad feeling.
You don't think that he's leaving Sodor, right?
I'm not sure. We have to stop him before he leaves Sodor. So I sent Thomas, Lily and Edward to look for Percy. They searched each and every line on Sodor for the small green engine. They eventually found him in Henry's Forest.
There he is.
Good. Edward, go back and tell Sir Topham Hatt where we are.
Okay.
Hey, Percy.
Why did you betray me?
I didn't betray you. I made a promise 50 years ago. I have to keep it.
At least promise that you'll visit Sodor sometimes.
I promise.
Thomas, Lily and Percy returned to the sheds. By this point, Edward decided to stay on Sodor. Wendell was the only engine who hasn't decided yet, and by this point, it was early evening. Neil, Colin, Lily, and Stafford slept in the sheds one last time before leaving Sodor. The next day was sad for everyone. The railway closed all freight services for the day so that everyone can have a chance of a last ride on Sodor. Each of the 5 engines pulled their own trains, including Wendell, as he didn't make a final decision yet. When the day was over, it was time to say goodbye. "Percy, take care of Knapford Harbor when I'm gone." "Goodbye, Thomas. We will always be friends."
Goodbye, Percy. We will see each other again someday.
"Get another electric engine to work on the Peel Godred branch while I am gone." Just as Cruvum, Winston, Red Max, Neil, Colin, Lily and Stafford were beginning to leave, Thomas noticed something. "Wait a minute. Wendell hasn't he decided if he wants to stay or leave?" "So what is it, Wendell?" "Well, I wanted to go, but I don't want to leave you all behind. I mean, who will run the Arlesburg branch line?" "Just go. We will all be fine." "Really? Okay." It was sad seeing those 5 engines leave. But I know that they would be better there. They still work there to this day, giving people tours of the railway. It was okay to be sad. I admit, I was sad after it happened, but something told me they would be just fine. I don't belong here. Why didn't the man buy me? I'd be better off without having to deal with annoying freight trains. I wonder if I can leave. Perfect? Let's just hope I don't get lost on my way there.